Evenant, Big Share, what's up? Okay, back with the drones. This time, massive. And what the sound's going to sound like is this. Amazing. Let's get into it. Okay, so as we've been doing, the note that we're designing to here is going to be a C3. So let me go ahead and change that here. C3. So there's no confusion. C is the note, 3 is the octave. Cool. Let's jump into the massive thing. Remember, this glue compressor is not doing anything other than just catching the peaks here, so don't worry about that. So here's our track, or sound, I'm sorry. And I'm going to go over here and go to New Sound. Let's get into designing this guy. Cool. So this one is going to rely a lot on, the comb filter. And we're going to get to that in a second. So let's start off with a nice little square wave right here. It's a square saw, and we're going to have it all the way over to the saw side. And I'm going to pull down my spectrum to like here. And I'm going to bring this guy down 2 octaves, -24. So let's go ahead and trigger this, and this is where we're at now. No big deal. Cool. So we might as well go ahead and start setting up our second filter. And that's going to be a Groan 4, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to adjust these guys down. So perfect. And we're getting this nice little overtone here from this. So before we add our third oscillator, let's move into our filter section. So we're going to be running these guys in serial today. So we're going to be using 2 filters, and running them in serial means that it'll first be run into this one, and then it'll go into this one. That's how serial works. And when it's on parallel, well, that just means that they're running in parallel, so like on top of each other or whatever. They don't really affect each other. This way they do affect each other. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to send oscillator 1 directly to filter 1. Okay, I could do a little bit of if I want to start it just by going into filter 2, I could do that too. But I'm going to start in the beginning of the chain right here and send this oscillator into filter 1 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a comb filter. And I'm going to turn up the feedback all the way. And these are going to result in drastic changes here. So if I just turn my dampening up, you'll notice that when I move this pitch knob, it's going to sound, well, let's hear it. Whoa. Comb filters are wicked cool. All right, and we're gonna use that to our advantage to create this kind of metallic-y, atmospheric drone. It's gonna sound real gnarly. Cool. So let's go ahead and move into the next oscillator here. So these guys, I'll turn this guy on, and he is going to go more into filter 2. So maybe we should just jump into filter 2 first. We're gonna use a low pass 4. And for now, I'm gonna turn down the resonance a bit and keep the filter cut off right around here. I'm going to bring this guy up, and this I'm going to bring all the way down to here. And it's going to run through this and come out the other side. So this is like, if I wanted to hear only this, then I would bring it up to this one. If I wanted to hear only this, bring it down to this one in between. But since they're running in serial, I want it right at the end. Makes sense. So let's see how this affects the sound. Cool. So at this point, we've got a general tone to it. So let's go ahead and shape the sound a little bit with our envelope. Remember, in massive, the envelope that controls the whole sound is envelope 4. So what I'm going to do is drag this guy kind of over here-ish. I'm going to bring this down a bit and maybe open up my release. And now it's going to sound like this. Awesome. You hear how it kind of drags in now, and then I don't have it going. I have it peaking at the top here, then it rolls off just a little bit. So you'll hear it go, ooh. Perfect. Adding some nice evolution to the sound. So let's go ahead and get in our third oscillator, and it's just going to be a, I think smooth square. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to have it about halfway, and we're going to have the amp down a little bit. And this is going to be nice because why we're going to do this is we're going to turn on our modulation disc. We're going to go up around 12 and make sure we got our ring mod all the way up on 3. You're going to start to really hear this come through when we add some filter frequency modulation in just a second. Cool. Okay, and now we're going to add that frequency modulation to the, the filter frequency modulation. So here we go, and then you're going to see this is going to add a big deal here. Cool, love that. We're getting some really nice overtones here, some really good stuff. So let's jump into the routing tab, because what we're going to do is we're going to move these inserts around. By now we should be getting pretty comfortable moving these inserts around. So I'm going to want to put insert 1 before my filter, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to run a sine shaper into here. Now this is going to sound pretty subtle right now, but it will come together in a bit, I promise. So I'm going to keep my wet dry there, and if we wiggle this, you'll be able to hear some tonal changes, which is what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab myself LFO5, okay, and I'm going to drag it right here, and I'm going to open this guy up a bit like this. I'm going to want to put it on sync and bring it down to, like, I don't know, something 6/1, and it's just going to take a very long time for it to evolve. I think what I have here is a straight up sine wave doing this, okay? So not a mix, just a straight up sine wave. Let's see how this moves. See, it's starting to bend and snake through this sound a little bit, which is, I mean, this is a drone, so we don't want too much stuff happening, but it can't just be stagnant either. So it's a little bit of subtleties, but it's all going to come together real quick. These drones are a little bit weird to make because they're not as exciting right off the bat. You have to be patient, but we're going to get there. Cool. So at this point, let's go ahead and drop an effect on here so we can start getting some spatial stuff happening. So I'm going to like to do a dimension expander right here. Let's leave that like that and turn this size down so it's just going to be a bit wider now. Super. Let's take off this vibrato, okay, and clear macro 1, and we're going to go ahead and use a couple of these guys to adjust our filters here. So one thing I want to take advantage of is this pitch thing. So I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy maybe up a little bit and just bring him up a little bit. I think that's what I'm doing there. So let's hear what this happens when I move this. Whoa, right? That's weird sounding. Wicked cool. And this will call like tonal, and you could add some nice, just really eerie movement to your sound with this. I'm going to go ahead and add another one to the resonance, okay, and this is going to add a bit of resonance to this guy. Okay, very cool. I like that as well. Let's add a little bit of feedback, not too much. Starting to get this wub thing happening. Super rad. The next thing I'm going to add here is a bit of reverb. When I say a bit of reverb, I mean a lot of reverb. And what we're going to do here is turn up our size a bit, turn down our density, and up our color. cool, man. This has got some evolution to it. I'm really digging this. So at this point, we're pretty much done. I just want to do a couple more things to tighten this up and just make a little whistles and bells, you know? So let's go back into my routing. And what I want to do is move my insert to, well, it's right there. It's exactly where I want it, right after the filter. Okay, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to grab another shaper, but it's going to be a parabolic shaper this time. And I'm really just going to turn my wet and dry down a little bit. And this is going to give it, what I like to say is some clean dirt. Very cool. Very cool. Just dirties it up a little bit, but not in a very dirty way. Awesome. So let's do a couple more things just to add some finesse. Let's see, we got tonal, and what is this doing for me? Awesome. So let's call this hollow. Makes it like hollow kind of sound. And let's take this guy over to here and move him up a bit, and let's see what happens if I move through that. Cool. Let's call that bite. Just gives it a little bit of bite, and we've got ourselves a couple of macros to play with to make this sound evolve a little bit in our way. Everything else is sounding pretty good. Oh, you know what? Let's go one step further here, and we've got this happening. Let's just apply this same LFO over here, and we'll have it go like this a little bit. I just want to add a little motion on this filter here. Amazing. And finally, let's just put some EQ on it to tighten it up a bit. I'm going to bring out the lows a little bit. Maybe take down a little bit in this range. And then add a little bit to the shelf. Wicked, dude. Wicked sound. It just keeps evolving. The overtones keep coming, and we can kind of affect those overtones with this tonal control balance knob that we have here. Control, balance, tonal knob. I don't know. Final step's going to be going over to the voicing tab. Okay? We're going to give ourselves 2 unisons. Okay, it's just going to give us another copy of this on top of each other, and that's going to give me the opportunity to mess with my pan control. So normally it'll be in mono in the middle, but I'm going to adjust this, and you're going to see it separate. Watch. See what I'm saying? It was here, and then it spread. And let's take that same LFO we had and just make it evolve a little bit, right? So wicked, dude. Wicked. Just a little final touch, just a little bit to little how's your father, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you do or not. Cool. Anyway, so we like the sound. It's dope. We're going to go over here into Save As. We're going to go into our Evenant folder, and under our pads folder, if you don't have one, you could make one, and we're going to call it the drone tone because of our tonal knob here. Alright guys, I had a blast making this sound. I hope you enjoyed making it too, and maybe you learned something. Remember guys, today we learned about the 2 filters, running them in serial. Also, we kind of went into the comb filter a bit, but this is something new right here. Alright guys, cool. I'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.